Imagine banning the very workers who keep your hospitals running, your businesses thriving, and your homes in order. Sounds like a disaster, right? Well, that's exactly what some countries tried to do. They thought they could replace Filipinos, but it didn't take long before they realized their mistake. Stay tuned as we expose the countries that tried to ban Filipino workers, and why it completely backfired. 1. Saudi Arabia, a crisis in the workforce. Saudi Arabia has long been one of the top destinations for overseas Filipino workers, OFWs, with over 800,000 Filipinos working in various industries, from healthcare and construction to domestic work and engineering. However, tensions between the Philippine and Saudi governments have led to temporary bans and recruitment freezes over the years. In 2016, the Philippine government banned Filipinos from working in Saudi Arabia due to reports of abuse and unpaid wages. In response, Saudi companies tried to replace Filipino workers with other nationalities. But there was a huge problem: Filipinos had the skills, patience, and strong work ethic that other workers couldn't match. Employers struggled to find replacements who were as hardworking and dedicated. In 2021, Saudi Arabia itself stopped issuing visas for Filipino domestic workers, thinking they could find cheaper labor elsewhere. The result? A massive shortage of skilled workers, especially in households and hospitals. It wasn't long before Saudi officials had to negotiate with the Philippine government to bring Filipinos back. The ban backfired, proving that Saudi Arabia needs Filipinos more than Filipinos need Saudi Arabia. 2. Kuwait, a ban that shook the nation. In 2018, Kuwait faced a major crisis when the Philippine government banned Filipinos from working there after shocking cases of abuse and even deaths among OFWs. The ban affected thousands of Filipino domestic workers, nurses, and skilled laborers, leaving Kuwaiti households and businesses in panic mode. Kuwait initially believed they could manage without Filipino workers, but reality hit hard. Many Kuwaiti families relied heavily on Filipino domestic helpers who were not only skilled but also spoke English and were great with children. When the ban took effect, households scrambled to find replacements, but workers from other countries either demanded higher wages or lacked the same level of experience. The crisis worsened as Kuwaiti hospitals and businesses also struggled. Filipino nurses and skilled workers made up a huge part of the workforce, and their absence created massive shortages in key industries. Kuwait was left with no choice but to sign a labor agreement with the Philippines, ensuring better protection and higher salaries for Filipino workers. In the end, the ban only strengthened the position of Filipinos in Kuwait. 3. Hong Kong, a failed attempt to control domestic workers. Hong Kong is home to over 200,000 Filipino domestic workers, who play a vital role in taking care of families, children, and elderly citizens. However, in 2000, Hong Kong's government attempted to cut costs by lowering the wages of foreign domestic workers, a move that primarily affected Filipinos. The goal was to push employers to hire workers from other countries instead of Filipinos. But what happened next? Massive protests erupted, with both Filipinos and Hong Kong citizens standing against the unfair wage cuts. Many employers refused to hire workers from other countries because they preferred Filipinos for their strong work ethic, patience, and English-speaking skills. Instead of reducing Filipino workers, demand for them actually increased, as Hong Kong families realized how essential they were. Hong Kong's economy is deeply connected to the contributions of foreign domestic workers, especially Filipinos. Without them, many working parents would struggle to balance jobs and family responsibilities. In the end, Hong Kong failed to replace Filipinos, proving once again that their skills and dedication are irreplaceable. 4. Singapore, a labor policy that backfired. Singapore is another country that relies heavily on Filipino workers, especially in domestic work, healthcare, and the service industry. However, in the early 2000s, the government tried to reduce dependency on Filipinos by encouraging employers to hire workers from other Southeast Asian countries. They believed this would lower labor costs and create more diversity in the workforce. But the plan quickly fell apart. Employers struggled to find workers who matched the professionalism and dedication of Filipinos. Many foreign domestic workers from other countries either did not meet the same skill level or had difficulty communicating in English, which was a major issue in Singapore's multilingual society. Filipino workers also played a crucial role in Singapore's booming service sector. Hotels, restaurants, and customer service industries depended on Filipinos' communication skills and hospitality. When businesses started losing experienced Filipino staff, the quality of service dropped, and companies started rehiring Filipinos at higher salaries. Singapore learned its lesson. Trying to phase out Filipino workers was a bad economic decision. Today, Filipinos remain one of the most valued workforces in the country. 5. Canada, the short-lived caregiver ban. Canada has long been a top destination for Filipinos, especially those working as caregivers, nurses, and skilled laborers. However, in 2014, Canada tightened its immigration policies, making it harder for Filipino caregivers to get permanent residency. This led to a drop in the number of Filipino workers, as many chose to work in other countries where they had better opportunities. But Canada quickly realized its mistake. With an aging population and a shortage of healthcare workers, the country desperately needed Filipino caregivers and nurses. Hospitals, senior care facilities, and private households struggled to find qualified workers, leading to staff shortages and lower quality care. By 2019, Canada reversed its policy, reopening pathways for Filipino caregivers to become permanent residents. The demand for Filipinos skyrocketed again, proving that they are an essential part of Canada's healthcare system. Today, the country is actively recruiting more Filipino healthcare workers, offering better wages and faster immigration processes to attract them back. Time and time again, countries that tried to ban or limit Filipino workers ended up regretting it. The world depends on the skills, dedication, and resilience of Filipinos, and when they're gone, businesses, hospitals, and entire industries feel the impact immediately. What do you think about these bans? Should Filipinos still work in countries that don't value them? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more eye-opening stories. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.